Yeah.
But the state of Ohio is so competitive.
Yeah.
And, the GLIAC, every school in the GLIAC is coming through the state. And then you got, a lot of other outside conferences, the PSAC and stuff that are in our state and recruiting young men. But very competitive state. We pretty much don't leave the state. There's no reason to. Great high school football right in our backyard, and there's enough players to go around.
I remember one of the points of emphasis you spoke about last year is maybe getting into the Columbus area a little bit, maybe more into the Cincinnati area. Were you able to reach some of those bigger markets this year with your class?
We did. We did a really good job down in the Dayton, Cincinnati area. I think we're getting into some really good programs in the Columbus area as well. I really feel good about this class because we pretty much got somebody from every area of the state. So
when you look at your team last year, a lot of the seniors, I bet you probably wish you had another year with Dan Pitts back there playing quarterback because that kid really improved greatly from
he
got the ball handed to him halfway through the season and where he was then to where he finished the season. That kid improved greatly, and it was awesome to see the last final game of the year when he handed his dad the game ball and everything. It was a great moment for me, and I'm sure it was a great moment for you and your staff to see that. But that's a big loss at quarterback position for you last year, come off last year's squad. What other needs do you need to fill with this class?
Well, we really went into this recruiting class focused on defensive linemen. Probably like everybody else in the country.
Sure.
The big guys are hard to find. But, we signed 6 defensive linemen in this class. Very excited about that. And that's an area after the season we felt that we're losing some key players at that position. But, we also wanted to, get bigger and stronger young men right there. And, I think the average size of the D lineman that we signed was, close to 300 pounds and about 6'3", 6'4". So, with 6 guys right there, they're going to have to come in and compete right away. Another area is we lost Obadiah Dykes at receiver.
Sure.
We felt like we needed a few more receivers that were maybe playmakers. Really excited about a couple guys we signed right there in that position too. We signed 4 receivers. So those are the 2 biggest areas. Now, we did sign some running backs that we're really excited about, a couple of corners. You always need to take offensive linemen.
Sure.
That's a must.
That was proven after week 2 last year on this football team. That's for darn sure.
Exactly. But, I really feel like we added some great depth at some positions, and we added some players that need to come in and compete early. And, we're still an overall young football team. Next year we'll be junior, sophomore heavy. So we're finally climbing that ladder where we're going to actually have a good senior class here before too long. But, this signing class, to back up with the last year's signing class, I think my coaching staff did an outstanding job, and I'm very excited about talking about these young men we signed.
You mentioned defensive line, needing to build depth there. I know Logan Kaminsky was petitioning for another year of eligibility. Was he able to attain that, or still?
No,
he didn't get it?
He's actually done. So,
okay.
But he's helping us right now. He's moving into that kind of student coach GA spot. So.
Okay, you talked about building the depth then as well. You think that was the difference between some of the upper echelon GLIAC teams over the past couple of years since you've been here, is that they maybe have a little bit more of that depth that you didn't have?
Well, without a doubt. The first year, we're lining up against Wayne State, and they've got 25 redshirt seniors. I'm staring at my guys, and we're playing with 20 freshmen. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Ashland made a good run for the playoffs this last year.
They had a great season last year.
They've got a lot of seniors. Their quarterback, who was the big difference maker on that team, was a senior.
Yeah.
So, you've got to build a program that, kids are going to buy into what you're doing and, not only work hard on and off the field, but, they're going to pull their teammates along and let them mature and develop into that senior class. So that way, hopefully we're looking out there and we've got 20, 25 redshirt seniors.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you talked about last year, part of this season, your 2 starting guards, neither one shaved on the offensive line yet. So talk about – but you know what? That offensive line really grew up a lot last year.
They did.
They were so much more improved, and I think that's a great building block for this team over the next couple of years.
Well, that offensive line could be one of our stronger points for years to come. With Max Pollum, he was our right tackle as a true freshman. He was, honorable mention, all GLIAC. And the young man's working extremely hard in the weight room right now, and he's got a lot of God-given ability, and on top of that, he's 6'6", 350, and can move. And then our left tackle was also a true freshman who started the last 8 games for us, and Marcello Brown.
Yeah.
So that's 2 very young guys right there that we're going to have in this program for a long time to come, and the sky's the limit for both those young men.
Not only losing a football program goes through multiple changes every single season. It's not just the players you're losing, but you also have to replace coaches as well. And you got a couple of new guys coming in. and Dave Bakar and Glenn Schwartzo. So talk about those two new coaches we'll actually have a chance to talk to in our next segment.
Yeah, they'll be on the show a little bit later. Very excited about both these guys. Scott Preston and Bobby Wilcox were two of our coaches a year ago. Scott was our offensive line coach, and Bobby was our secondary coach. And, both of them had opportunities presented to them where they could kind of get out of coaching and pursue other avenues. And love both those guys to death. They did a great job for us, but kind of opened the door for two new coaches here. And, Glenn Schwartzo is a defensive line coach for us. He was at Ohio Northern for quite some time. Brings a lot of experience to the table. Coach Durr, our defense coordinator, is going to move back into the secondary, and so Glenn's going to fit in great. He comes very, highly, referenced by a lot of people. So we're excited to have him. And then Dave Bakar is moving into our offensive line coaching job, and he was at the Pittsburgh University for the last 3 years, and worked with Jim Huber, their offensive line coach, who we've got a mutual friend. And Jim is a longtime coach in the NFL and longtime coach at Wisconsin, and he's trained him very well because Dave is very, very organized, on top of his game. And I think both those guys bring different aspects to our program. So very excited about both of them.
Not only the experience they can bring, but they got to be a good fit.
No question.
To you and your coaching staff as well. And I'm assuming that that was one of the first things you thought when the interview process was these guys will fit in good with the guys.
Well, most definitely. I mean, they're two fairly young coaches that are eager and hungry, and they're good recruiters, very organized people, and without a doubt, they've both been here for a little over a month now, and we're excited. So good fit for both.
Well, let's thank our sponsors real quick, and let's get into this class.
Okay.
All right, our sponsors today of the Coach Gary Goff Show are Tiffin Ace Hardware, the Animal Hospital of Tiffin, CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, State Farm Insurance, Ed Lape's office, and Steyer Seeds, all sponsors of the Gary Goff Show. So, Coach, what time did the first fax come rolling in this morning?
Well, we had early morning workouts, and I think by the time we wrapped that up, that was around 7. And by the time we showered and got to the offices, we already had about 3 faxes in.
All right,
so that's a good sign. We try to train these guys well. Hey, when you take that picture at 1, 2 o'clock at the high school for the local newspapers, you don't actually have to wait and sign it then. Yeah. Sign that puppy after 7 o'clock and fax it to us so we're not sitting here sweating bullets all day.
And I'm sure sometimes a kid maybe forgets to sign something or something doesn't send in properly.
It does happen.
I heard a horror story from some other Division I schools this morning about their fax machine wasn't receiving faxes all day in the athletic office.
Well, we got a lot of
curveballs.
We got a lot of phone calls too saying, "Hey, Coach, the fax machine's busy." Well, yeah, there's a lot
That's
of
good.
fax it in. Just keep trying.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of these young men who faxed in. Coach, let's talk about your recruiting class, 2013.
Well, I'll kind of go down a list right here and talk a little bit about everybody so we don't miss anyone. But, Nate Boggs is a big, strong offensive lineman. He's been a 3-year starter at center, also played guard at Madison High School in Mansfield. And I tell you what, Nate is a very serious young man. And he's got a will to win, and he's very focused. And we went to the high school. I don't know if I got the young man to smile not once until I told him we were offering him, and we thought he was a great player, and then he just kind of grinned. So he's kind of that perfect offensive lineman fit. He looks like he's big, strong, athletic, and a nasty player.
Oh, that's good.
So, but we needed some depth right there at center, and he'll come in and compete and be right there with Dustin Craig for that position.
Awesome, excellent.
And then we got Jesse Bray out of Wayne High School down in Huber Heights, the Dayton area. Jesse Bray was kind of Braxton Miller's go-to man 2 seasons ago. Jesse has got a lot of talent and a lot of potential. He is a great football player. He's a big kid. He's a little over 6'1", can stretch the field vertically for us on the outside receiver position. We're very excited about him. He was first team down there in that district. He's also playing in the Ohio North-South All-Star game. So, I think Jesse's a steal. He really is.
Awesome.
He's a great player.
Excellent.
Then we got Austin Brown from Lepsic High School. Not too far from us here, and he is another player. He was an all-defensive player for the year in his region. We'll probably try him out at that strong safety outside linebacker spot, but big physical young man. Academically strong, great student, and he's kind of bringing that country boy tough attitude on that defensive side of the ball, which we like. Then very excited about this next young man, Jerry Brown.
I had a chance to do some of his high school games and the tournaments and stuff, and that guy is, I would just call him a football player.
Jerry Brown was one of our first commitments, and we were ecstatic about him because he's a young man we've been on hard for a long time. We've been to several of his games and watched him play. The young man can do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he can play. I think one of the playoff games I watched, he played safety, picked off a pass, played rolled down outside linebacker, made some huge hits. Then, where we're going to fit him into is tailback and slot receiver where you can move him around. But he also lined up at quarterback and, pretty much single-handedly, carried that football team through quite a few games.
Yeah.
But, Jerry is a unique player that kind of, he's a utility player. You can put him in a lot of different areas. But
that bright yellow.
Yeah, well, I don't have that anymore now.
Okay.
Season and he's in the basketball now, so I think the coach there made him shave their hair. But he was first team All-State.
Yeah.
And over his career, he had over 5,000 yards rushing and 76 touchdowns. So we're excited to have him. Coach Alge over there at Macomb does a great job, and Jerry's going to be a big addition, and I expect him to get on the field real fast for us.
Yeah, excellent. I've had a chance to see him play, and he's just he runs the ball hard. He's one of those guys where they put the best athlete on the field at the quarterback position, give him the ball, and say go get us some points. Led him all the way, I believe, to the regional finals.
He's a football player.
Absolutely.
He finds a way.
Absolutely.
And I can't speak highly enough about him and his family. I really enjoyed recruiting him, and he's named after his grandfather, Jerry Brown.
Nice.
And his grandfather owned the rushing record there at the high school.
So Jerry Brown.
And Jerry broke it. So
nice. I like it.
Kind of cool.
Nice.
Cole Clemens. Cole's from Niles High School, and he's a quarterback, and he'll get a shot to come in and compete. By losing Dan a year ago, we've signed a lot of quarterbacks that are coming in right away and compete for that position. So Forrest Cordova from Carroll High School is another young man, quarterback, big, strong kid. Can probably play a couple other positions as well. But he'll have a chance to come in and pretty much compete for that quarterback position as well. So Terrence Crow from Springfield High School, we don't really know if he's going to fit in at linebacker or running back. He's a big, strong young man. He's almost a straight A student, and he can run, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, very physical on the defensive side. So we're going to kind of feel him out and see where he fits on what side of the ball.
Okay.
So next young man is Joey Friendo. Joey Friendo was at Alfred State. Previously, before that, he was at Grand Rapids, originally from Michigan. Joey is a mid-year guy. He's here on campus right now. He's a quarterback and a very athletic young man. He's got a strong arm. The best thing I like about Joey is real smart.
Okay.
I mean, he brings some intangibles to that position that I don't know if we've had before, and he can sit back there and already pretty much call a lot of the offense. I mean, he's a guy that you got to kick out of the office. Hey, just go work out. So. Then we got Jared Frisman, and Jared's going to be a kicker and come in and add depth at our kicker spot. Either punter or in extra point field goal type role. Vinny Jones from Kaufman High School, defensive end, 6'3", 225, comes from a great program. And Vinny was here for our summer camp. We got a chance to see him out at practice. Saw some of his games this year. Coach Crabtree does a great job down there with that program. And Vinny's going to have a chance to come in here and compete, too, at that defensive end position, whether it's the rush or the true defensive end. But big, strong young man. And he's got a lot of potential. He was offered by, I think, almost everybody in the GLIAC. So that was a big get for us right there.
Excellent. Let's give us a couple more, Coach, and we'll take a break and come back and get the rest of the class.
Sure. We got Kevin LaFeld from Wayne High School, another defensive end, 6'3", 235. Another young man that he's got a motor. He just he can be blocked up, but he's not going to stop, and he pursues, and all that defensive stuff. He doesn't ever give up. So
that's great for that depth on the defensive line. You want guys that come in with that motor,
right? Because they can be as big as strong as you want, but if they don't have that desire and that motor that you can't turn off, that it doesn't matter.
Exactly. All right, give us one more, Coach.
All right, then Dominic Lewis. Dominic Lewis is a big get for us out of the Pennsylvania area. Coach Picard kind of found him, knew about him when he was over there at Pittsburgh. And Dominique is a big athletic tight end who's a great run blocker, and he can catch the ball downfield too. He's 6'5", and right now he's playing on one of the best basketball teams in the country. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you a little bit about his ability. He's a starting small forward there. So excited about Dominique, and he's kind of a guy that we plucked out of Pennsylvania right there and stole away from some of the PSAC schools.
Well, excellent. Let's go ahead and step aside and take a break. We got a few commitments in, and we got a whole lot more to go through. So we'll take a break here on WTTF Cool FM 93.3 and WTTF.com, and our YouTube listeners, stick around. Segment number 2 is coming your way with more of the Gary Goff Show after this.